Hi there, welcome back. I'm Julian. Today I'm talking about Ode to the Fallen. One of my latest singles, came out 2 weeks ago. It's going to be on an upcoming album coming out this July. And unlike the other tracks on the album, this was started as something completely on its own, completely separate. Before I started the other tracks, they were actually came about because of a commission. Someone commissioned me to do music for a show with dance and movement, and they ended up being quite electronic and quite ambient at times. So the album's going to be a collection of these pieces. This was a part because this I started before all of that, in fact at the beginning of the pandemic and the beginning of the lockdown as well. So this was what I was working on during lockdown. Later on I had to stop it and then do the commission, and then I came back to it later. It was something that was slow cooked and it took a long time, over a year or two, to finish it, but it was something that I go back to work on a little bit every now and then, build up. The musical idea is incredibly simple, but then the layering is more complex in terms of bringing instruments in and out, and I think I used up to 63 channels. 63 tracks of instruments, not all at the same time obviously, but coming in and out. So it's quite a complicated piece in that sense, in terms of texture and layering, as I like to create sort of intricate soundscapes with lots of things happening and coming in and out to maintain interest, but also to stimulate, the brain while you're listening, and just to pick out these little different frequencies, some high tinkly frequencies, some low, different types of bass frequencies. This track has got like 3 different basses, several different marimbas, xylophones, etc., as a lot of my ambient ones do, and then a lot of synths leading the idea. And as I said, the musical idea is incredibly simple. It was inspired by a video I saw on YouTube about what was then called coronavirus. Now we know it more as COVID-19, SARS-CoV, but then it was just called coronavirus on the news and in videos. That this early YouTube video that came about around February of that year, and I saw it in March, just as the pandemic was hitting Spain where I live. It was talking about, the impact and the early manifestations of this pandemic that was starting to hit. And it had this music, which was electronic music, and I was just fascinated by these 3 chords. So I thought, wow, I'm rubbing them. And the 3 chords were very simple. It was simply a C major, which then went to an E flat. E flat, sort of sus2, or sometimes 9, depending. They would change, or more complex. And then to an A flat. And that was it. The whole song is based around that idea. So, simply based on those 3 chords, I knew I had a piece I wanted to work on. I just wanted to explore the relationship between C major, A flat and E flat, and basically I thought that was wonderful. It's kind of almost sad and poignant. I'd never used that before because I was associated an E flat progression from a C being a C minor, C minor, which includes E flat, A flat, B flat, F or F minus, G. So I would use those chords with C minor, but to go from C major to then an E to the chord of the minor third, I found very interesting, and then use the A flat. So simple, but it just works beautifully. And to me it's sort of like I say, quite poignant. So basically it's called Ode to the Fallen because usually we talk about war when we talk about the fallen, or Odes to the Fallen, like the famous poem. Wilfred Owen? Can't remember. One of these war poets. And of course, now we have war, but this was before the invasion of Ukraine, and it was at the time when the pandemic was hitting and we were getting a lot of news about the deaths that were occurring. So really it's a piece that's dedicated to the victims of COVID-19. And as I said, I was working on it during lockdown. Then I paused and I went back to it later and I finished it. But basically, as I say, it's just so simple, just based on those 3 chords. But of course, you bring in lots of elements to make it interesting. So you start with a nice backward piano. Then you have the rhythmic elements. So you have different rhythmic elements. You have structured waves. What's that? Yeah, that's a that's a synth with a rhythmic thing going on. This is the piano, and you got like this is a synth as well, which is sort of replicating kind of like a low guitar in a way. And also we have this interesting free instrument from Spitfire Labs, which is guitar harmonics plucked. Another backward piano there. Let's have a listen to that on its own. So very simply, building up slowly. You've got rhythmic synths. Pianos and effects. Solar flare, for example. Arctic shimmer. Falling cycles. All of these add to a fantastic atmosphere, and they give a nice stereo effect as well. Then we come in with a Saturn Lead, which is my main synth. This is quite a powerful synth. What's the scattered rhythm? Of course, this is a subtle effect. So we've obviously got a few different. We've got a main beatbox here, beat machine, and then we add a little bit of hip hop beats and some electro acoustic percussion. On top of that, we've got a Latin kit down here and an African kit. So basically we would start with the main beat and then bring in the other instruments and build them up for the change, and also for the end, for the climax, and building it up towards the end. So this is obviously the change. It's a very simple change, it's just simply descending. On the wrong instrument. just sort of descending down the scale, but kind of like a minor scale rather than a major scale. That's what makes it interesting. You have the C major, to B flat, to an A flat, to an F, I believe, and then an E flat, and going down like this. And then you've got other elements coming in, a synth doing a line over the top, and a lovely pitch bend. That's a beautiful synth as well, very mellow. A little bit of guitar coming in there, then we're going to build up the beat again slowly. So we've got your main beat, here we bring in the hip hop beat on top, extra percussion. And the other way to build it up is using these sparkly instruments. So we bring in the marimba, 2 marimbas, 3 marimbas. Then the vibraphone. Another vibraphone with a high melody. Then an even higher glockenspiel. Pan to the right. And I love the sound of my main synth here, the Repro 5. This is actually a very complex sound if you listen to it on its own. It's got that mellow, high, sweet singing sound, but then it's also got these dark echoes behind it and out of tune bell type sounds. Have a listen. Actually quite a complex, weird sound, but in the mix and in the context, you don't really notice all of that complexity, but you just hear the sweetness. Now we've got more percussion coming in, as well as the hip-hop beat and the Brooklyn beat machine. We've got some extra, oh damn, it's not processing. Got some shakers, bit of cymbal. I love these Latin percussion and African percussion. Actually, I had a lot of fun here. On my pad. And I love that high whistly synth. Which one is that? It's this one. It's the Yuhi Diva. Love those high frequencies. Oh, I didn't talk about the basses yet. Basically, we've got different basses. You've got a electric bass here, which is kind of replicating the Jacko style a little bit, fretless. got a mono synth bass, which is kind of giving it a sub bass vibe here. And that comes in a few times. So it doesn't, the sub's very subtle. Oh, here it comes. And you've got some other basses as well, which I can't find now. Possibly some of these synths are bassy. That does have some. And going back to the end again. So basically we have the change again. After the build up of all the vibes and marambas. Here, this is also a bass synth. And another bass synth. So you've got about like 5 different basses in total. Or maybe 4. 1, 2, 3... and 4, there's this bass as well, this upright. Well, it's a synth version of a MK bass picked. So basically you've got lots of high frequencies and lots of low frequencies, lots of frequencies in the middle, and then I love this where you just leave the nut hanging, cut out the beat, keep the shaker so we can stay in the groove, and then come back in with the piano. I think there's a backward thing there. Yeah, there it is. I don't know where that is, but that is somewhere. Maybe it's this backward piano here. Yeah. Again, to bring you back in. With everything, a bit of guitar, the basses. And then build it up for the finale. Just end there on the piano theme, and of course another nice backward piano to bring you back out. Don't know where it is. And then, as with other singles from this album, I made some artwork which I wanted to have a kind of aesthetic for the whole thing, and I thought, well, it has to be sci-fi really. I love the idea of, you know, sci-fi illustration and fantastical things, so I drew towers and things in space, and this is a little nod to Alejandro Jodorowsky, who and his failed Dune project. Now we have a fantastic Dune film, which is great. but I was very inspired as well by his almost making of Dune. And if you see the documentary about Jodorowsky, it's very interesting. And so this is a nod to that. I did a spaceship. Basically, I just did a quick sketch, very quick, of the original design. I think it was by Jean Giraud. They made all these fantastic illustrations for the original film that was never made. And so I took the spaceship. I wanted to give a little tribute, to this legend of sci-fi mythology and history. So I did a quick sketch of the spaceship, and then I took that sketch and I didn't look at the original anymore, just to make it, completely different. And I interpreted my pencil sketch in some funny ways, so the physics doesn't quite work, and it's not as detailed and precise as the original, but it's kind of a scrappy sketch which I then coloured and put on a space background. I thought it was quite a fitting thing, because it's a tribute to Ode to the Fallen, it's a tribute to the victims of COVID, and I thought, well, what better image than the stars and space, and thinking of maybe where they've gone in the heavens, or the idea of souls floating in the ether, or anyway, themes of space, stars, the cosmos, the universe, the hugeness of it all, and paying tribute to those that we lost. So that was the idea behind this piece, and I hope you like it. Stick your headphones on, have a listen to all of the things coming in and out, left and right, and hope you enjoy. Thanks very much for watching.